This conference will now be recorded.
You sound good.
Keep working on it. Right.
I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next regular meeting of the board will take place on Tuesday, May 6th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. Key upcoming events, May 20th, 2025, 9 a.m. budget meeting. Memorial Day, May 26th, district closed. Public comment in general. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and may not be answered by a supervisor or staff member. However, all public comments will be captured for the record, and the general manager will address your issue, concerns after the meeting within 72 hours. Is there any public comment? Okay, moving on. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Seconded.
Any public comment? Any comment from the board? Okay.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes. Item number 7 will be taken off. And do you want to explain anything on that?
Sure. We had a meeting with Commissioner Kerouac, and right now they're conflicting with their county commission meetings. He's asking that he not be placed on an agenda item because it looks like it's on the agenda, but he's not here. And then I agree, it makes total sense. So we're going to move his ability or his statement of county commissioner down into the staff area. If he's physically present and he tells me ahead of time, we'll put it on the agenda, we'll give him a spot. But we're just going to remove it. So it's nothing, not hiding anything. I'm working all those issues that are in there, but it just administratively makes sense. So.
Okay, action agenda. Motion to appoint Jacqueline Vaughn as the board secretary.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Melissa?
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes.
Welcome.
Discussion and motion to approve the sale of 20 parcels for $60,000 to the Polk County Water Conservation District, units 14, 21, and 20 to Polk County for a water offset requirement of conservation parcels.
So this is a continuing discussion that we've had with Polk County as well as the board members here. A little bit more fidelity in the discussion from last month. The map that you're looking at now in yellow highlights, this is unit 14. So this is our northwestern corner of the district. Columbus Boulevard borders the north, Balboa to the left there, and what is that? Calabaro, sorry. All this items in red are district-owned parcels throughout Unit 14. This is an undeveloped area, no facility, no infrastructure, no roads, even though they're platted, no facilities. And this is last on the district's infrastructure plan to ever place facilities there because of just the location and the lack of density of anything going on up there. In our discussion with Polk County, this is the Water Conservation District of Polk County. They're seeking these 20 parcels highlighted in yellow. They picked these areas because of that swath of brown you see in there. That is basically a no-go build area. That is wetlands. It would be an astronomical amount for any builder to come in there and do something with that. So these are areas that would remain in green space, whatever we do with it. So we're choosing those parcels as part of this, if you agreeable to y'all. We can try to compact them a little bit more. Also, the issue was they didn't want any encumbrances of any past due bonds, past due taxes, anything like that. And these are the ones that they've highlighted. So we kind of refined the parcels. We can get a little bit more refinement on the 20. The cost right now in discussions, I think I alluded to last month, the initial number in dealing with Polk County was in the $5,000 to $6,000 range. When they came back after their board, the Water District Board, because these are for government use, these are right now assessed at the county at no more than $500 each. They're willing to go to the $3,000 to $3,500 range. So that's where that $60,000 comes in. At a minimum, it would be a $60,000 purchase of these 20 parcels. They would stay indefinite perpetuity as conservation owned by another county. So there's no build at all from anywhere from them ever. And what we are working through based on your guidance is part of the conditions here would be no assessments made by us in perpetuity because it's conservation. We don't really do that. So that'd be a discussion we'd have to have with y'all. And also they're asking, even though we don't control it, that no taxes be paid on these from the county. Not our problem. That's a discussion between Polk County and Highlands County. That's the two working issues that would be tied to this negotiation. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention to move this forward, if at all. Honestly, I'm comfortable with the price submitted based on the location, based on our potential use as a district. It's 60 plus grand in our coffers for land that we would never use nor need to use for any infrastructure planning, and based on the location. So I'm not really worried about that. I think there will be some red lines when we start digging into assessments and taxes that may just turn the deal off, and that's not our problem on the tax side. So really that's where we stand. Looking for a motion today. This could just be a consensus to move it back to us so we can continue the negotiation. I included in there the contract, included in there the map. And if you do want to make a motion contingent on our findings, that's fine too. That'd be helpful. It gives a little bit more fidelity to Polk County that you guys are very interested, serious, but there are some conditions that need to be met rather than just a consensus to move it to the next level. So that's where we stand. Garrett, anything to add?
Quick question. There's these yellow ones that are outside this brown area. Why did we do that? Because there's several places within the, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
There are several places within the brown area that are red boxes that would seem to me be able to take up and then would isolate it all in that brown area.
Agreed. The concern we have with those other red ones in there, specifically in the brown area, they either have a bond on them that either we own the bond or we can quickly clean that up. But if Auckland owns it, they're not going to give us a free deal.
Okay.
As well as there's some past due taxes on some of those parcels that we would have to clean up before it would be part of this deal. So do we want to throw money into it to only get back $3,000? That'd be a discussion we'd have to have.
So the ones that you've identified in yellow.
Those are clean.
Are clean.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Gotcha.
And Polk County would then own those parcels of land.
Polk County Water District. Yes, ma'am.
And what's the advantage for Polk County?
They need that amount, which equals 6 acres of water offset for construction project they're doing in Polk County.
So they want to put water?
No. These would just be used as vacant land in perpetuity. And they use that calculation of acreage in how the state calculates how much water offset you do on your project. Yeah. So nothing would ever be built there. It would be vacant land forever. Yep.
So there's nothing they can do that we couldn't
Nothing.
do?
Nothing. If they tried to do something and try to change conservation status or try to build, they would have to find 6 acres of other offset land, and that's their challenge. They can't. So they could trade, yes, they could, but it's going to be hard pressed for a water district to try to do something there, to build there. And we could address that in our contract negotiation, I guess. Yeah.
And they could sell those to anybody else if they wanted to?
That's my next question.
Yeah.
The districts, we can put a restrictive covenant in the deed transferring title to the property that'd be held in conservation in perpetuity. So that's one of the things we can do. I don't believe, I think what their plan might be is they're going to establish a conservation easement with respect to this land so that they can prove to the state that they have an offset in perpetuity. I'd be interested to see what they think about that. But yeah, certainly on our end to make sure they don't develop it. We can throw that restrictive covenant in the deed. I think Boz pointed out on the map to me as well that brown area is a pretty gnarly wetland. So
Gotcha.
Even if they wanted to develop it, it seems like it'd be prohibitive in that respect.
Would we have any interest in buying it back if they chose to sell it for some reason?
If we needed offset land, but we have plenty, so that'd be a hard pressed issue.
So we would have once gone, we have no desire to get it
No,
back.
sir. No, not need for it. That would take our 2,000 parcels we own down to 980 parcels.
Yeah. Is there any public comment? Any other comments from the board? Okay, what is your pleasure,
I'll make
guys and girls?
I'll make a motion to approve the continuation of negotiations.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Melissa?
Yep. Can we amend that to subject, continued legal review and bring back to you a resolution and a contract? That's all we would ask. Yes, sir.
So amended.
Okay.
Seconded.
So seconded.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes.
Thank you much.
Discussion and motion to approve the short-term agreement between the district and Sokoloff Remula law firms to take over the Auckland Pastors bond foreclosures based on the agreement. The amount of foreclosure work by our district law firm is being hampered by Auckland workload. And to ensure the focus of effort and no redemption in the agreement, processing this is a necessary step for the next 12 to 24 months for approximately 150 cases, estimated at $4,000 per case.
I'll turn it over to legal.
I'm gonna start off this agenda item just by saying certainly the past few meetings, but it's been a constant in board meetings since our firm started up. There's been a desire for the district to go out and finally collect delinquent assessments, district assessments on lots in the district. As you know, the only way to collect those delinquent assessments is to foreclose on the properties, since we didn't utilize the uniform method previously. The district has a lot of obligations floating around. If you think about it, they're separate buckets of foreclosures that you all are contractually obligated to go after, and those that you all have indicated a strong desire to go after. The bucket we've been discussing previously are the Phase 5 bond foreclosures, where there are several hundred lots that have significant delinquent balances with respect to the Phase 5 bond. The bondholder obviously is Auckland Pastures. You all, or the district rather, entered into a contractual agreement with Auckland that provided that upon their direction, the district would go and foreclose on those properties to collect that money. And that is what we've been doing. The Sokoloff firm previously was in that role for the district. I believe they foreclosed on about 100 plus lots previously. The deal the district had with the Sokoloff firm for those foreclosures was pretty sweet, and that's an industry term, pretty sweet deal. I think it was around $1,500 per foreclosure in attorney's fees. That's essentially at cost. I talked to Owen, the managing partner of the firm, who said essentially coming out of COVID, that was a way for them to generate work, and they wanted to, do business with the district. They did a very good job. As you can see from the retainer agreement that you all have, their fees gone up significantly. Their attorney's fees have gone up significantly. However, it's still within market range. The total number in the phase 5 bucket, right? Different types of things going on here. In the phase 5 bucket, there are about 400 some odd lots that need to be foreclosed, about 420 lots that need to be foreclosed. Right now, our firm to date, in the last 3.5 months, we have initiated 52 foreclosure lawsuits covering about 120 lots. So that's our workload right now. That's what we're moving on right now. Our firm charges separately for these foreclosures. We have a flat rate agreement with the district for legal services. We charge a small additional fee for these foreclosures, about $1,500 a case. And that's just to cover our cost of staffing these cases. Our firm does not charge the district extra money for doing the other foreclosures that the district has indicated you all would like to do, where we need to go foreclose to recover delinquent district assessments. And what I indicated to Boz is if we want to go out and do this and really, pursue it aggressively, we would need some support on these phase 5 foreclosures. It's of course an additional fee to the district, right? It's about $1,500 more in attorney's fees per case, or $1,000 more in attorney's fees per case. But that is the only way that we can go after that other bucket that you all have indicated you'd like to go after. Of course, if it's the pleasure of the board to hold off on this, then we could reevaluate and look again at different strategies to recover those delinquent assessments. But if we want to aggressively go after them, then this would be the way to do it. The third bucket that we don't talk about too often, but it'll come up certainly, I think, at the next meeting, the agreement with Mr. Hornick in the option agreement for Unit 12. The district agreed that it would go foreclose on lots that in Unit 12 that are not owned by the district that have delinquent assessments, so that they could be included in the option agreement. Again, I don't know how many of you, were on the board when that deal went through, but that's still an agreement we're living through right now. So, to fulfill all the obligations and all these buckets that we have ongoing that we can't get out of, and to, go forward on this new project that you all have indicated you'd like to move forward on, which it makes a lot of sense, and I can go into in a little more detail if anyone wants to, but that would be the only way that we'd be able to handle the workload, is if we had the Sokoloff firm as support on this bucket of cases, on the phase 5 bucket of cases.
So previous legal counsel for the district did minimal to zero anything with land acquisition, foreclosures, and everything. And at that time, it was by hourly rate, even if that happened. And now, 2 years into it now, we are trying to course correct there. Garrett hit on it. When they came on board, we were just in the assessment to action role. We are now in heavy land acquisition for our wastewater plant, for conservation area, north of Columbus. Unit 12, which by contract, we need to acquire a lot of those parcels back, even though they got sold in a county foreclosure. And it's really just a massive workload in the regular day-to-day business of the district. And that's where they are doing great work with our team and knocking those out, mainly on the acquisition and now moving into foreclosure. All this bond, Fifth Third bond stuff, if we can't work out a deal, then they aggressively start going down that road to either foreclosure for district assessments and so on. This also gets us ahead of future county injecting into our business, and the county just riding the clock, closing them, and then we get nothing. They get it all. So that's where I would like his focus to be on. So I look at this as giving me the flexibility within the budget. And we do have a small portion that we assign every year to other legal services. That within the budget, when we see that bucket starting to grow, because an Auckland ask is required by the contract. If Auckland dumps 15 cases on me and say, I need these foreclosed, then all our other work goes below those 15. And now I can't acquire that land for the wastewater, and it just gets reshuffled. Having a dedicated outside party that is familiar with the district, knocks these out for us in the past, would give us the flexibility of staff to keep that ball rolling, keep all the other projects in line, as well as keep Auckland satisfied so they don't get too aggravated of what you can't slow roll this because we'll just take you to court. And that's just the contract that we're living with. We're living with that with the Hornick. We're living with that with Auckland. These are old contracts that a lot of you weren't on the boards. We're just having to live with. We're going to fight through. We're going to get through. Be done with it. So I'm asking for flexibility. These are the numbers that we can lock in Mr. Sokolow for a period of time for an amount. Because if I don't do that, he could go up to $6,000 next month. And then we're stuck. So we're asking for flexibility. It'll be based on budgetary, how much money we put into this other legal services bucket. And then that's what we will use for that year. And then based on discussions me and Garrett have of what we can give to them or not, that's how I'm looking at this, being flexibility at our level, because I don't want his work to be stymied because we have a lot of these other contractual foreclosures. That's my take on it.
And Mr. Chairman, I have two additional points to add because I know there are going to be questions from you all. Does the district get any of this money back as a part of the foreclosure process? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's different for each type of case. So I want to address them individually. With the Auckland foreclosures, when we are directed to foreclose on a particular property, we go through the process, we get it to a foreclosure sale. If it's not sold, right, the district takes title of the property. That's how foreclosures work. The agreement with Auckland is that in satisfaction of that huge debt that's been sitting on the books for all these years, we give them the lot. They can do whatever they want with it. Right now, they are they're turning these lots over and developing them, or they are packaging them up and selling them off to developers to develop. When those lots eventually sell, whether it be 6 months, a year, 2 years after the foreclosure sale, they have a formula that they worked out with the district a couple of years ago, where the district essentially gets back all of the delinquent district assessments that were owed on that property, because we're all foreclosing on that bucket too here, and a majority, if not all, of the legal fees and costs. It doesn't completely make us whole in each case, but it does get us back at least, from what I've seen, at least to like 75% of our costs that we put into each case. With respect to foreclosures that our office will initiate at your direction to recover delinquent district maintenance assessments, our firm doesn't charge a separate fee for those cases. That does not mean that we cannot recover a reasonable fee for our services in prosecuting those cases. So we can assign a reasonable fee of $2,000 per case, add it onto the bill, and when it goes to foreclosure sale, the amount of the delinquency is much, much lower in these cases. Maybe what, $2,500 a case, and that's for lots that have been delinquent for 5 years. And you know what, I was talking to Coral before the meeting. If we prioritize lots that are highly valuable or are in areas that are ready to be developed, the district can expect an immediate return on its costs, because someone will buy the lot at foreclosure sale. Very often in these phase 5 cases, the delinquency is so much. I mean, it's like $40,000, $50,000 per lot, and some of these lots are can't be developed, so no one's going to bid on them at a foreclosure sale. I've looked at the list many times. There are lots of delinquent properties in areas of the district that are ripe for development. And at least we prioritize those first. I think we can get into a situation where that project, cost-wise, is self-sustaining. The initial, push, because the foreclosure costs aren't inexpensive. It's $500 to foreclose a lien under $50,000. You have to pay service fees. You got to get a title report that's $250. You have to pay the administrative costs to get it to a foreclosure sale. So that's all about $1,000. But we're foreclosing on a lien that's, $2,000, $2,500. And if the lot's worth 10 grand, 14 grand, 15 grand, we get our money back immediately. That'll fund the next case, so to speak. And again, you all don't pay out of pocket for those cases from our firm. So it's no additional cost to the district.
So would you say that the history that you've experienced so far is that you get a 75% recovery of the money spent?
Yeah, from looking at the old.
So this $600,000 that we tentatively would plan for Ramtula law would run it down to 150,000.
Yeah,
And we could reasonably expect that.
But it's not immediate. It's not right at the
But
foreclosures.
we could reasonably expect that really the cost of that would be 150.
Yeah, taken over a course of a couple of years. Yeah. And the additional thing as well, not all of the Auckland foreclosures, the delinquent amount, some of those cases have only been delinquent for a year or two. And the delinquent balance is $7,500 rather than $45,000. So my plan was to sit down with Boz to go through the list that we have, pick out the cases where we are the most likely to have someone bid on the land at foreclosure sale, or to prioritize lots that will be turned over quickly by Auckland so that the district can expect to get its money back quicker in that regard.
But your history already shows 75%.
Yeah, and to this point, I think Auckland dropped a check off to finance this week for $60,000, $49,000. So, it'd be a slow drip. Who knows if property values might shrink, it might expand. You can't guess. But Auckland's been pretty busy in developing and turning properties over. So,
But getting rid of the Auckland clears us of any bond lots out there, right?
When there's down to 0 lots, yes, sir. Yeah.
But 400 Auckland
This is what they have left.
the only thing left because we already took care of Fifth Bank.
and our firm has already taken off the board the Auckland cases with the highest number of lots. Because you can for one owner, if they have 20 lots with delinquencies, I throw all 20 lots into the lawsuit, and it's the same price per lawsuit. The Sokoloff firm has an additional charge per lot of $250. We're not going to send any of those cases to them. We're just going to prioritize the cases with the lowest delinquent value so that we can hopefully get them sold at foreclosure sale. And I'm planning on only sending them, in consultation with Boz, of course, the lots where it's one lot. So we're not paying some additional fee. And our firm would still be going after these cases. We're not going to just stop working on them. But the rate at which we would need to go if we were to do these other foreclosures would swamp our ability to do so.
And of the 400, you had how many active cases? 50?
So there are 200 some odd cases, but 400 lots. There's like 420 lots.
But 200 of them are already in process?
I have 120 in process right now.
Okay, so that leaves.
So we're about a quarter of the way through, and that's our work in the past 3 months. So throughout the remainder of the year, really what our office wants to prioritize is so many of these lots are going to tax deed sale at the county level that we pull data from the county that the county gives out, the clerk's office. We cross-reference it with our spreadsheet we have from Auckland. We can see which cases are coming up to tax deed sale, and we have to jump and file those quick. And those are the ones that we're doing now. And we want to keep doing that. That's about 5 to 10 cases every 6 weeks. That's kind of the schedule.
Okay.
So we want to keep up with that pace, but to do the other foreclosures that, the Unit 12 foreclosures, just so, you all can really realize the value of the flat rate.
As of March, a little bit over 400 parcels that are Auckland, about 1.6 million in principal owed on that bond. In principal, what's getting us, not getting us, getting the bond is it's actually over $10 million in bond debt when you add all the interest and fees and penalties.
Yeah.
So that's where we need to put some focus on to get rid of those 400, get that number down to zero like we did with Fifth Third, and then the district is debt-free, not only for us as a district, for all our residents. It's debt-free from bonds, and that's what's holding up a lot of development.
So when you file, that ends the possibility of a tax deed sale?
No, so once we file the foreclosure lawsuit, we file what's called a lis pendens. And it's a notice, official notice, that anyone who takes title to the property after we file that lis pendens is on notice that their interest is subordinate to our interests. It essentially puts a pause on everything. And what we do is we communicate directly with the clerk's office so that when we file these cases that we know are going to tax deed sale, we shoot them an email. Hey, here are all the lis pendens we filed in the last week. Pull all these cases off sale, and they do that. They pull them off sale. And the county's happy because they don't have to do the sale, and they know eventually the taxes will be satisfied by the new owner. So it doesn't make any difference to them.
So the county has no real interest in owning these. They want us to do this.
They have no interest. They have no say. It's a passive process. Once we file the lis pendens, we're in control.
If we do nothing, those 400 will tick away over time, and eventually the county will foreclose and take all the money.
And what's
I guess my question, they're helping us any way they can, or they?
Yeah, we're actively communicating with the clerk's office, and it's the county, but it's really the clerk and the clerk staff that we're communicating with, and they've been very helpful. And I think we sent them some lis pendens yesterday that they acknowledged, and they take those cases off. So, but just to
They're required to. They can't.
Sure.
They can't ignore the email.
Sure. But they're being active in helping us. Hey, we need to, so we don't incur additional charges here. We need the lis pendens by next Monday or something like that. But
All right.
just to put a number on it, in the past 3 weeks, we've filed 15 lawsuits to get in front of tax deed sales. That's about the rate that we're going through.
The time frame on this 400 expected?
I think we wanted a 24-month window to focus
2
them
years.
on. Just because they have a throughput as well. They can't do
Sure.
too many.
I would love if all these cases were filed and on their way to being finished end of 2026, mid 2027. The bond matures in 2029. So Auckland's very aggressive with what they're demanding from us. I have calls with them weekly. We have a Zoom call every month where we talk about issues, things going on. This is an obligation of the district. We don't owe the money per se, but we have an obligation to foreclose the assessments that secures the debt that all these landowners have. And that's,
Okay, and
once
this law firm that you're proposing to hire, did we shop them? I mean, where did we get this law firm from?
So they previously did this exact same work for the district.
They've already worked for us in the.
Yes, ma'am.
And not only work for us doing foreclosures, they started really this foreclosure work particularly with Auckland.
Okay,
So they would have there'd be no lead up time for them to come up to speed. They could start filing cases next week if they would.
so we would be paying them and your firm, because they would be working on different things? Is that correct?
2 separate bills. Yes.
Two separate bills?
Yes, ma'am.
And and that's not to say if the board, wishes, we could absolutely shop this around more. What I suspect would be the case is that, because I did a little research, this is approximately the fee that you would find for a residential mortgage foreclosure, which is essentially what it is. It's about $2,500. If you're doing it for cost, it's about $1,500. That's what we're
I was
charging.
going to say, we're doubling your cost. If
Or
I
it's
read this letter
It's
correctly,
$1,000 more, certainly, but
if I read this correctly, it's about twice what?
yeah.
Okay.
But, my hope is that's offset by the efficiencies of our firm doing the foreclosure work that is already included in our flat rate, and recovering a reasonable fee from those cases to offset the flat rate.
It's still double.
you know,
4 to 2,500.
So what's the total legal fees going to be for all these lots?
600.
600. If
600,000.
if we sent all 150 to Sokolov over whatever period of time at 4K each, that's what.
and that's not just legal fees. That's legal fees and court costs, filing fees. The filing fee for if there's one lot with a $52,000 lien on it, the filing fee jumps from $425 to $925. So right there, $1,000 in the fees in that cost is just to file the case. You have to pull a title report. That's $250. You have to get it out served. If you can't serve the individual, you got to put a notice in the paper. That costs money. There are administrative costs associated with getting the case to a foreclosure sale, to advertise it, things like that. The court doesn't pay for that. We pay for it. So there are all sorts of, and of course, all of those costs are recoverable. And perhaps when Auckland sells, a lot a year from now, we get 80% or 75% back, the money we paid. The issue is that we have to do it, right? We can't get out of this obligation, unfortunately. So,
But again, we do have 75% recovery
yeah, that's what
over time.
those are, yeah, they say it's 80-20. From what I've looked at, it's like 75% back. Yeah.
Any public comment? Yeah.
And it goes without saying, and I'm so sorry, ma'am, but it goes without saying, but the contract isn't, we can send them as many cases as we feel is necessary. So if it's not in the budget, we're not obligated to exceed our budget to send them cases. It's, we'll feel it out and see what works, and we'll go from there.
Okay, is it on? Joan Shoemaker, 5583 Matanzas. This is fast. Is this a budget item that we have to amend to be covered? Because it wasn't in the budget now.
We do, ma'am. We have a budget line item for other legal services we do our foreclosures under. So that's why I mentioned this would fall under that, and that would be the cap for every year.
And there is a limit.
Right now, it's at 50,000, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if it changes, is that another amendment?
We would have that discussion this budget cycle
When
for
it comes up.
2026. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comment? Any more discussion from the board? Oh. Just come up, ma'am. That's all right.
Just come to the mic, ma'am. You're fine. Yep.
My name is Carolyn Correa Bryant. I live in 4424 Romano Street. Just got the house done. We have a hole, all the water in front of my grass. That's one of my concerns. No drainage. My second concern is I need some street lights. I have a disabled husband that wobbles, and I'm only 5 foot and could only do but so much. I asked for that, and those are my two concerns at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Ma'am, if you're not going to leave, we'll make sure we get your information.
Yes,
when you
I'm
sit
not
down.
going nowhere.
I'll take care of that
Thank
with
you.
you, ma'am. Clayton, can you get her address and full name for? Thank you. We'll take care of it, ma'am.
Any other public comment? Any more comment from the board? Okay, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the short-term agreement between the district and Sokolov Remtula Law Firm to take over Auckland pasture bond foreclosures as indicated by the district.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Jacqueline?
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes.
Thank you much.
Okay, any add-on items?
The only thing you should see in there is your FASD. Was that in that section or in the GM's area?
Must be in the GM.
Okay, that's all. No, nothing official at all.
Okay, petitions and communications,
No, sir.
staff reports. I think you're up.
So based on that vote at the board's next meeting, what I've asked finance and BOS to help me with is to bring a list to the board of priority lots that are delinquent with respect to just the district maintenance assessments, so money we get to collect for us, and cases that our firm handles at no additional charge, those cases. Bring a priority list of those cases to you all to approve that we start moving and foreclose on. I can't go and foreclose on lots without your authorization, so I would anticipate that will be an agenda item next month. I also anticipate we'll have a version of an amended contract with Mr. Hornick for consideration at the next meeting or potentially the following meeting. He made some promises to Boz and I about a project that he had in mind for Unit 12. There are some obligations the district has that we would like to get the district out of with respect to environmental offsets, those sorts of things. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Otherwise, we're moving forward with several projects. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. All right.
Morning. You have your GM's report, pretty lengthy, a lot of data in there. The staff continues to refine that, so I appreciate all their input there. If you ever have a question on something specific, please reach out in between the board meetings and we can get you an answer. We talked about the Bond 44 negotiations that are ongoing. Today, actually, we're installing the pads up there at our wastewater plant down in Unit 4, as well as at the maintenance bay for the 2 generators that were damaged and replaced from the Hurricane Milton. We're getting those installed before the next hurricane season. So we'll be operational across the district with all generators. And the 2 generators that were partially damaged, I'll say, we're going to auction off, try to get some money recouped back from the district there. Swale clearance continues. We're working in basically the Matanzas area down this street, the back of these yards. So we're pushing out that way. We're working in the Unit 12 area. So if you see the large piece of equipment, the excavator, that's what we're doing across the district before rainy season starts hitting us. And we're taking, like we have here, we're taking any specific concerns or complaints directly to the team. We upgraded our landscaping on Stone Lake Boulevard. We're watching that. There's some degradation of the palms put in at 27. We got that under observation. Those are under warranty. So if I'm not satisfied with them in the next 2 weeks, I'm telling them, give me new ones. So I'm not worried about that, but they've upgraded all that to include all the watering. So what you don't see is we replaced all the watering to keep all that nice vegetation upgraded. We're doing the same on our north entrance. On Ponce, we worked out a deal with the Doctors Collaboration that owns that parcel on our northern entrance. All those old palm trees that are just overgrown and lengthy are all coming down. And the agreement we had with them is if we help you take those down using some district resources, we'll replace palm trees up there, more substantial 12, 15-foot type palm trees. That'll replace it closer in our easement, not on their property. So we're working that.
On our,
it'll be on our
we
property.
can control it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
But part of the discussion was I need those to go away so we don't have an odd look up there. So we're upgrading our northern entrance. The next upgrade would be Ortega coming in from the south side. Same view, a lot of, kind of wonky palm trees, all different sizes. We'll be cleaning that one up. So we have 3 good entrances coming into Sun Lake. Recreation upgrades, we have a few bids back for so we had the pool. You all approved the pool. We're working that on the permitting right now on the back side of us here. What we've added to that, and we're waiting on bids on, the pool company is not going to do the ancillary stuff, the fencing, the fire pit, all the other stuff around the pool. So we have that out for bid, getting some feedback on that. We'll bring that to you. That's all in the same price, the $600,000 range, but we're having a separate vendor do that. That includes the expansion of the rec center building. So we'll blow out where the bathrooms are. We'll blow those out to the back. And basically we are building a new yoga room and gym, 2 separate structures. So now the yoga moves from this so we can keep this rented and goes into a yoga room back there. And both of those entities, the gym and the yoga room, will overlook the pool with a nice glass window. It'll be a solid sheet of glass, so it'll be a nice view. They look at the lake, they look at the window. For the yoga folks, very soothing, very settling, so that'd be good. So that's part of that project, again, all within the budget, the $600,000 budget. And that'll be controlled access and so on. So that's out for bid, working on that. Recreation upgrades, we have a grant to RPAC going next week or 2 weeks to RPAC. $250,000 from the county RPAC to take our walkway, bike trail, golf cart trail for where it ends on Sunlight Boulevard or Cortez, take it all the way to Balboa. So now you could ride and walk all the way from 27 all the way to the park in the back in a safe and secure trail, as well as golf cart traffic can go on there as well. So that's a $250,000 grant that we're asking the county for. Pretty good chance. We'll see how that goes, but RPAC has not given out a lot of money to many projects, so we're hoping to get in their queue. And the last one we did was our playground back here, and they were helpful doing that.
Is that on the same side of the road as the
We'll
current?
keep it on the north side, yes, sir. Yeah.
So all those new houses being built?
That's what we're trying to get ahead of. There's about 6 houses that got built on us. They'll just have a sidewalk in their front yard. But if we get that out there now, then everybody else will know they have to incorporate that into their plans. Yeah.
So they don't know that?
No, we've notified those 6.
Okay.
And only 3 are occupied. They're fresh builds. So as we flesh that out, we'll see if we add amenities along there, lighting. The request was some of those workout stations that are consistently placed. So people that are active that want to do that, but that's an add-on for a later project. And a few other upgrades around here. We're having a discussion right now with the North Star folks that live over here, North Star Villa Condo Association. They're right on the lake. They're the townhomes on the lake on this side over here. Having a meeting with them and having a pretty open discussion with them about in the future, if we did a loop around the lake, are they supportive? And we'll see where that goes. We'll take it from there. Because that'll be phase 2 of our recreation upgrades around here, increasing our walking trail, taking it across that little stream into the golf clubhouse area. So not only you could walk, but you could drive a golf cart all the way across here and not go on bumpy ground. A lot of projects going on in the district. We got some staff adjustments, some fills that we added. IT, we have a new board secretary, Jacqueline, on board. Melissa now is up front at receptionist admin at the front. So when you walk in our district office, which we will be renovating in the near future, budgeted item, you'll have the utility customer service folks. You go there to pay a bill. If you have a district specific question, find a staff person, whatnot, you'll go over to Melissa. She's working there full time. What we've been finding is that those questions bog down our customer service people. And when we start backing up for people paying bills, and we're trying to figure out how to course correct that. So that's a way we're going to do that and get some focus to those folks that are coming in with just a question about the district, not tying up a customer service person. Issued out our budget guidance. So what you have in your packets is just like we do annually. I send out budget guidance to the departments that gives them a start point to start working on their numbers. Now, what this is informed by are meetings with y'all, discussions with y'all, town halls that we've had at the end of last year, and our strategic plan that was laid out 2 budget cycles ago. That's the focus that the staffs now are working on, some of those very specific projects to start getting the numbers, the data. So when we receive more guidance from the board and you guys say, we don't want to mess with Turtle, we don't need to do a bike trail wherever, then that's very beneficial to us in the next month or 2, because then we can take that off our plate for planning and focus our energy elsewhere. But they needed a start point. So we're working that. Some big issues there is no more than a 2% cost increase in operations. That's a direction to all the departments and all the staffs. Right now, the COLA is in discussion. The county has a 1% COLA they're thinking of for this year. The state and Social Security and the feds are hovering around a 2.5% COLA. So we'll inform our decision on that and then see the difference between COLA and merit, a pay bucket that we could take care of our staff there. This is year 3 of the 5-year increase in our utilities. So that'll be on the table for this year in our utilities, which on a regular bill for our citizens is about a $5 to $7 at the most increase based on their utilization. That's on the high end, actually. Pending assessment on increase. So what's going on right now is that the person that helped us with the wastewater plant, person that did the district's assessment formula years ago, Chris Rowe, lawyer, he's working on assessing our assessment categories and numbers. I wanted that to be done so I can bring to you during budget discussion if there's an appetite that we're going to address what some people think is inequity in our categories, and do we need this many categories? Should we get rid of some of the commercial, make one commercial, that type of stuff. So he's putting together those numbers now. We'll bring that to you in the budget discussion. That will then drive staff's recommendation to y'all for a assessment increase if warranted. So it's not baked into it right now because I'm waiting on that assessment. Because if he comes back and says you guys are woefully under assessing or in certain categories, then we'll adjust some numbers and bring you back to that. We did not do any golf membership increases last year. We did do public play increases, and we're seeing about a 10% revenue bump in some of our public play. So that's good news over this year with the new greens and the adjustments in our dynamic pricing we're doing. So that's good. The challenge we're going to have this year in our golf enterprise is that right now for us to meet the state law of $15 per every position in the district, it's about a $600,000 bill. Not so much on the district side. For us, it's about $15,000. And that's my part-timers, my security guards, that type of stuff, my rec attendants. The biggest chunk is my landscapers and my waiters sitting in the restaurant to get them. Some of them are at the $9 level. And the state has no exemptions. The state wants us by next October to be all at $15 minimum, regardless of what you pay.
2025,
2026.
2026.
So it'll be part of this budget discussion because we need to execute it potentially in next year. So that's a big cost. Tied to that is a discussion of potential increases, not only in a little bit of membership, but public play, as well as it could be a cost increase in the restaurant. We're gonna have to lay all that out because that's a big chunk that we by law we have to do it. So there's no out there. So more to follow on that. We have some employee needs that we're seeing. The first two are more on the priority end, so we can get to a point where Infomark is not necessary anymore, an accounts payable person, and then a rec attendant. We've expanded resources here. We've expanded coverage in our pool or to longer hours. We're adding a body over there in the courtyard to monitor it, enforce payment of the fee, that type of stuff. That's all driving. We need a body in certain positions. And that's where this rec attendant position next year will be very critical. That's the biggest ones. I got media specialists there. That's something we're working through. Right now, I put my media, Bernardo, under IT. So I think I'm going to give Cameron a year to see how we can sort that out with maybe some either citizen assistance or whatnot before we go with a more so media person to push the messages out. We're getting a lot of digital platforms that helps us there. So that may relieve the need for that person. But this, again, start point on discussion with budget. What I would ask is if you have a pet project, I'll call it, or a focus area at this meeting, throwing it down on the table so we can discuss. If you need more time to chew on it, and we'll have separate meetings. Obviously, we have some board meetings coming up that are pure budget. We can have that discussion, as well as we have some meetings for the citizens in the near future that are town halls focused on budget to get your feedback so I can bring to the board for any commentary. Any questions on budget guidance?
Mons, I have what you're wanting is probably April 22nd is when we're start the discussion.
Yes, sir. So there's your timeline of budget meetings.
Okay.
That's up there now. So the first one we will have here, April 22nd, I'm calling it a town hall. It'll be a board meeting that's noticed. You all will be up at the front seats, and we'll have an open discussion with where we stand budgetarily and where we want to put projects in priority. So, yeah. And then it goes from there. Why the president noticed that to be determined in May, on May 20th, it's driven by y'all's appetite for how many budget-specific meetings you guys want. If you're satisfied with what we do at the board meetings and it's embedded in there, you guys have the ability to flex on all those meeting schedules. So. Any other questions on budget? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have.
Yep.
I got a call or a text yesterday about orange dirt or something, Ortega and Granada, are we dumping trucks? Or are trucks dumping dirt and all over the streets?
If it's well, you're talking on the streets.
Yes,
What we're seeing now, because of all the builds, we got about 350 builds going on right now, is for them to bring some of the parcels up to grade. They are bringing in a lot of exterior soil. It's not local soil. They're bringing in a lot of foundational soil. And when we see that, based on, we know there's an active permit, we will get code enforcement out there they have a responsibility to clean up the streets. So I just need that stuff reported. If a resident sees it, you just report it. If you all see it, please just give me a call. Mr. Herrick reported a land clearing just by walking the dog one day, sir, right? And that same day we stopped it. We got him in the office. He paid us his couple $100 for land clearing. We made him legal and he went back to land clearing. That's the information we need and that's the response we can have on it.
okay, but they asked me to make sure.
What was the address, sir? You know, or location?
Yeah, it's at Ortega.
It's 2 houses west of Ortega.
Ortega.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
They wanted me to make sure that I went and looked at it, but.
We got it, sir. You ain't got to waste your time on that type of stuff.
And I have another question on where we were back some on the message boards.
Yes, sir.
Is that approved for next year? Some more message boards?
We're finishing up the 3 that are left. So we're pouring those slabs now.
And those were all
Prior.
approved?
Oh, yes, sir.
already?
That was
Oh,
last
yeah.
year. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep.
okay,
Yep. So we have 3 left to install.
okay.
Up
I just
on
wanted to
Minorca.
be aware when they see them start going up.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
Minorca. And we're going to put a message out today because we're pouring the slabs right now.
Okay.
Minorca out the intersection
So
of
that was
Cortez.
passed last year.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
So you said Minorca, what were the other two?
Cortez and Sun Lake Boulevard. And then at our front entrance, there's double-sided on the big 27 sign. Yep. So there's 4 signs, but 3 locations. Yep. Okay. Nothing else on budget, sir? You good? There's just some informational documents in there when it comes to, there's still going to be cost of living inflation and all that stuff that we will track, and that'll drive our discussion when it comes to staff increases, pay and coal and that type of stuff. The product here, this is something, a collaboration that we've had with the county. This is really just informational purposes, laying out the environmental impacts for heavy rains at those seasonal, 24 hours of straight rain. This is the problem areas. So when we fed all the data into the county's programs and we showed all our critical infrastructure, this clearly shows you some areas of concern. That really dark blue area that's to the far left, top left, that's the area we're trying to sell. So that's a good one to get out of. But it gives you a picture across the district of the areas that my guys are focused on for swale clearance and making sure we have irrigation management. So you have a little bit area in the Boston Street area, that northern quadrant there. You have a little bit less, but most of it is out past Cortez. It's out there in our more undeveloped areas, but we now overlay this data with our swale map that covers all our existing swales, and it'll drive where we need more swales so we can start pushing water out to the conservation area, which is past Balboa. So it's just an information. This is a tool that any citizen can look at. It's available. We can put the link on our website, and you can show you where all the district resources are. You see the hospitals and our district assets there. But it's a great tool when it shows you for those heavy rains, which they call a 40-year and a 20-year, whatever they have the codes there. If it's that much rain that quick, if you're in one of those areas, we're working it. Just be aware of that. But just be prepared yourself. Be prepared to take accommodations around your house when it comes to making sure your gutters are clean, that type of stuff, because the rain will pool in those areas, and it's just the data proves that. So.
Where's our wastewater plant on that map?
Bottom left, so where you have that deep blue down there, that's all our retention ponds. So that's good to have that be wet. The bottom left corner, see that real thick blue area?
Yes.
Right.
So that's going to be where the ponds are. To the east of that is where our infrastructure, our buildings are going to be. But that's where the ponds are going to be. Yep.
So this, what I would call the south side of that picture is that Schumacher?
That's Schumacher right there,
Okay.
right along the
All right.
bottom is
Okay.
Schumacher. Yes, sir. Yep.
Very good.
Okay. We did our meeting today. Next meeting reminder, it is a 5:30 meeting here. That one, more than likely, the county commissioner would attend. In our meeting yesterday, he said he could. So we had a good meeting with him yesterday, and he's offered to do that on a monthly basis. I'll leave it up to y'all, the president, is that I think the best would be that if your schedules are available, if we do it monthly and to make sure there's a smattering of you guys having, I call it FaceTime with the commissioner, we can spread that out. If the boss wants to go at all of them, that's great. But we're going to bring staff in there to chat with issues with them. But there definitely needs to be one of our supervisors at that meeting to get that one-on-one engagement, because Mr. Gilpin was very pointed at him, had some hard questions for him, and he as an elected official appreciates that. Your 25 and over expenditures, nothing out of the norm there. These are all budgeted items. It's our insurance bills, it's our water meters, it's this is the law firm for the other legal services that caught up, and one of these is a generator. Some of this is getting FEMA replacement money, so the generators will be on the FEMA list. That's now, I gave my report last week to y'all, or a week and a half ago. FEMA's done the inspections. They're down to the golf course damages now. That'll be the next visit. But I'm comfortable that between the rackets, the trash removal, the debris removal, the damages to our buildings, our district buildings, probably going to get in the $300,000-$400,000 range of FEMA money. So that's good. And some of that will replace some of these generators that are damaged. And that's not even counting the insurance claim that we filed, that we've received 100 some odd thousand for right now, and some more money coming that way as well. So I think we're gonna get whole on that and be able to do some projects to not only fix, but to do some mitigations to better ourselves there. Golf meetings, nothing abnormal. Their meeting is next Tuesday, so I will attend that meeting with Mike and Jimmy. They have some issues or asks when it comes to benches and golf cart marking and stuff like that. So I'll be there to take their concerns and see what we can do for them. Fixing the cover over our ball shack over there. That's kind of raggedy, so we'll get some repairs done on that. So appreciate their feedback, and we'll attend that meeting next week. And your departmental issues are regular plugging away. Code enforcement, security, still in the training phase for merging. Auto flushers are going out there. We talked the RPAC grants. Lights, we have about 30 received, so we're waiting on the rest, the 80 more. I've held off installation because the way they work is that they have two trucks, one's boring and one's slapping a thing in. If we just do 30, then they gotta bring the trucks back and bring the trucks back, just a waste of money. So once we get all 100 on station, then it'll be a 1 or 2 day project. They'll just start boring and the guys right behind them will be putting all the lights in. Those will go in the Unit 12 area and the west side of Unit 12, Pebble Beach up to Cortez. So that's our electrification plan for this year. And then our discussion and budget would be to electrify another area of the district next year, using the same solar so we can keep a cheaper footprint when we do that. And subject to your questions, that is all I have from staff.
Last blast, we don't have a vegan offering on the menu.
We took care of that. You have something planned? Yep.
Have you sent anything out telling everybody that it's available?
So for all the folks with special dietary needs, which could be vegan, could be vegetarian, there's all sorts of those different options. We don't lay those all out on the menu. Those folks, which we take care of for all of our events, that we already have, I looked at the sign up, there's already 7 folks with different dietary needs that we have taken care of.
Advertise the fact that vegan options are available.
We can set that up. Do you have somebody in specific that you're referring to that needs to be taken care of?
Anybody that looks at the menu and figures out there's beef tips, there's chicken piccata, and there's vegan options. That's all you need to have. But right now, there is nothing that says, when we asked what was available, it's beef tips and chicken piccata. All I'm saying is advertise the fact that a vegan option is available. I don't think that's a big...
No, I got you. You're good. We'll fix that right now.
I don't think it's a big deal.
The guy doing the message, he's going to hit it after this meeting.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all we have from staff, sir. Yeah, up to y'all.
Follow-up items? Discussion to and from the board? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
There you go.
It's a new record.
So I think what would be helpful for you